Bet horse racing on DRF Bets. We'll match your first deposit of $200. Get free expert picks and past performances, plus weekly cash back. All from Daily Racing Form, the most trusted name in horse racing. Hi, everybody. Dan Illman, Mike Beer, taking a look back at the 2022 Breeders' Cup Classic at Keeneland, where we expected a coronation, we expected a show, we expected an awe-inspiring performance, and we got all three from the undefeated Flightline. Let's break from the gate at Keeneland, going 1.25 miles. Flightline is number 4, and Life is Good, Mike. Let's give him credit. Let's give the connections credit. Life is Good, breaking from post position 2, decides he's going to take this race right to Flightline.
I love everything about this race, in particular the first part of it here. Life is Good. This is his running style. You knew that they were going to do this. There was no way that they were going to take his speed away from him here. He's a wicked fast horse. He goes a wicked fast pace early in this race, and it just has to be so disheartening for Irad Ortiz when they get into the backstretch, Dan, for him to let this horse roll like this and then to take a look over his shoulder and see Flightline sitting right there. I think at that point, Irad had to realize I'm in pretty big trouble here.
Exactly. I'm sure Irad thought maybe I'd be 5 lengths up after 4.5 furlongs. Here he's basically 2.5. They went 22-2, 45-2. You just saw Flavien Prat take a look back on Flightline to see where the competition is. There is none. And right now, Flightline is in the catbird seat. He's going to go after Life is Good. He's going to take the lead, and he's going to go on to an impressive victory. Life is Good ran very well. He's also very tired at the end to run 5th.
Yeah, he's going to get really tired here. After, trying to win the race. They didn't go out there to try to be second to Flightline. They tried to beat him. It didn't work out for them. He probably ran the second best race here. He's going to have to settle for 5th.
Flightline turns into the stretch after 3/4 mile in 9-3 and 1 mile in 34-2. He changes leads on cue, and he draws off to win by 8.25 lengths. He earns a 1:21 Beyer speed figure, and there is no one in the world that can threaten Flightline. This is just a sensational performance for a horse that's going to retire to Lane's End Farm. 6 for 6 in his career. Just dominant performances in each and every start. We'll talk a little bit more about him in a bit. Olympiad got up for second. It's really good for his wallet to get up for second. He was never threatening. It looks like he's going to go to Gainesway, but we may see Olympiad one more time in the Pegasus.
Yeah, it'd be nice to see him one more time. Boy, what a great job the Connections really did with Olympiad. Now, he winds up second in the Breeders' Cup Classic without running the second best race. But listen, I think they had the right game plan here, because you could see Junior Alvarado just rate this horse right from the start. They weren't going to make the mistake they made at the Whitney, Dan, when they chased Life is Good and paid the price. They sat back in this race and they said, we'll take our chances through the stretch and see what we can get. They wound up getting second.
Life is Good will retire to WinStar, where I expect him to be a very popular commodity at the Stallion Barn. This horse has brilliant early speed. 1.25 miles, maybe a little bit far for him, but boy, you go 7 furlongs to 1 1/8. He was one of the best horses at that distance we'd seen over the past few years, a Breeders' Cup Dirt Mile winner in 2021.
Yeah, he certainly was. He's a really, really good horse. The 10 furlongs is a bit too far for him, but he's really fast, really talented. He actually ran a giant race here. I was just very impressed with the way that they handled him, Dan, and the way that they went out there and tried to win this race. Unfortunately, they ran into an absolute freak.
Happy Saver will be retired and go to Airdrie. This was a big ask for him. He was also coming into this race with a patch on his foot. It looked like he had a little bit of an abscess. Epicenter, of course, was injured during the running. He was down on the backstretch, seemingly in good position behind the fast pace, but he was pulled up before even a half mile was completed. A fractured leg. He underwent surgery, hoping everything's okay with Epicenter, the winner of the Travers, who still could be 3-year-old champion.
Yeah, he still could be. That'll be very interesting to see how that plays out. Unfortunately for Epicenter, he didn't get to, run a complete race here because he felt like one of the horses that you wanted to, maybe think could have a look at this thing through the stretch of the race, but he didn't make it there.
Taba and Rich Strike. Rich Strike, the Kentucky Derby winner. Taba, the Pennsylvania Derby winner. They will be back in 2023. There are rich pots in Saudi Arabia and Dubai that I'm sure those two horses are going to be, or their connections are going to be considering.
Yeah, I've certainly, Taba's still very lightly raced. I think all in all, they have to be very pleased that they finished third here. Couldn't quite stick with Olympiad in the very late stages. He had a real shot at second here, Taba. He couldn't get it. Actually finished an okay third, though. He's got, obviously plenty of upside still. He's going to have a big 4-year-old year, it seems like. We'll see what happens with the Rich Strike. Got the setup that he needed here and never really factored.
And the very likable Hot Rod Charlie tried to stay close to the wicked early pace and was just sort of run off of his feet. He's better than the 6th place finish shows, and I hope to see him again maybe next year at the age of 5.
I'd like to see him too. He is one of those horses. He's very good. I think he is one of those horses, Dan, who is at his absolute best when he can make the early lead in his races, and it wasn't always possible for him this year. Flightline, Life is Good, horses like that are going away. He can use his speed maybe more effectively if they bring him back.
Let's take a look at the brilliant Flightline. 6 for 6 in his career, winning at distances ranging from 6 furlongs to 1.25 miles. Beyer speed figures ranging from the 105 he earned in his career debut to the 126 in the Pacific Classic, the 121 he earned in the Breeders' Cup Classic. He is a son of the sensational stallion Tapit, and you have to think this is going to be one of the more highly anticipated stallion offerings in a long, long time.
Yeah, I mean, it would almost have to be. It was amazing what he did on the track. It's very unfortunate that we only got to see him 6 times, but the 6 times that we did see him, I mean, hard to be more impressed with a horse, than you could be with Flightline for what he did, Dan. I mean, just sort of unbelievable performances, and he capped it off with the best one yet at the Breeders' Cup. It wasn't his career best Beyer speed figure, but that was his best performance by a mile. Sticking close to that kind of a fast pace and still winning the way that he did, super, super impressive.
He was odds on in all of his starts. And taking a look at the prices for the Breeders' Cup Classic, backers of Flightline, maybe they just keep the ticket as a souvenir instead of cashing the $2.88 win price. Flightline, one of the better horses we've seen, maybe one of the best, if not the outright best of all time, a son of Tapit, undefeated winner of the Breeders' Cup Classic.